Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my kind of like single eyeshadow collection. This is like a follow-up to my eyeshadow palette collection, but I definitely couldn't fit both in one video. So anyways, I'm going to try to go through these fairly quickly. Not that I have a ton of single eyeshadows, but I just don't want to spend like a minute talking about each one. So I am going to name all of the singles that I have and swatch them out so you can see them. So anyways, I'm going to get right into it so that this video is not super long. So I figured I would do my two Z palettes first and kind of get those out of the way. I've got a mix of eyeshadows. These are my only two Z palettes, and I kind of stick with Makeup Geek shadows, MAC shadows. I have a couple of Anastasia shadows, and then these two big ones up here are Makeup Forever. So those are the brands you'll see. I'll tell you which shadows are from what brand and the name of them. Okay, so let's start with this one maybe. So I really like these little Z palettes too. I love how the front is see-through. You can find whatever you're looking for. They're magnetized obviously so that you can just put your shadows in and you don't have to worry about, ooh, you can't even see that, worry about them falling out or anything like that. So they're handy little things. They are quite pricey for what they are, I think. This one is from Sephora. I think it was $30 or $35, which I think is just too pricey for something as simple as what it is, but they are really handy and I do like them. So this is my kind of favorite Z palette that I have. So basically all the shades in this right side are, except for this kind of purple one down here, are Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadows. So these are really good eyeshadows that are pretty affordable, really. I would say they're probably the closest in consistency to my Natasha Denona eyeshadows, but they're obviously way more affordable, and you can kind of buy them separately too, so you can just pick and choose the colors that you want rather than getting like a whole palette of them and maybe having a couple that you don't really use so much. These are really pretty shadows. She put out some more, I want to say 8 to 10 more probably fairly recently in the last couple months or so. So this one here is Grandstand. This green one here is Fantasy. This is like a really pretty green too. If you like seafoam kind of light greens, that is like a really pretty one. It's still nice and vibrant. I find with a lot of kind of seafoam green shadows, they get a lot darker when they're on your lid, but this one stays nice and bright and glittery. This one is Caitlin Rose. This I remember was a special one that Marlena came out with. All the proceeds from it were going to a certain donation for, I can't remember what disease it was, it's so bad, but Caitlin Rose, I think it was based on an actual person who had this disease, but anyways, I just thought it was nice. So this is a pretty kind of light purple that is called Daydreamer. This is like a really pretty everyday gold shade. That's called Magic Act. This one right here is called Mesmerized. And it's kind of like a nice taupey color. This one is called Highwire. It's definitely like pretty silver. It's pretty, although my Natasha Denona silvers are just like way more brighter and vibrant than that one. But that's a pretty good kind of step down. This one here is another really pretty kind of beige neutral. This is Starry Eyed. I really like this one. These two here are just so good for everyday lid shadows. This one here is called Whimsical. This one I was a little bit disappointed in. I know it's more of like a silver base pink, but when you put it on your shadow or when you put it on your eyes, it's very silver and you don't really see that pink to it very much. And I know when I was looking online, I think it looked a little bit more pink than it actually turned out to be. This pretty orange, I don't have many shadows like this. This is called In the Spotlight. And this one's really pretty too. I do wish it translated a little bit more orange on my lid. It ends up looking a little bit more silver than I'd like, but it's still really nice. And this aqua here, I mean, I don't wear this kind of color every day, but it is nice to kind of have for every once in a while. This is called Pegasus. And I'll just throw this one in. Even though this isn't a Makeup Geek, a foiled shadow, this is an Anastasia shadow in Macaroon. But it's a pretty similar consistency to the Makeup Geek foil shadows, so I just kind of keep it in there, and then they look kind of all nice and organized. So I just swatched all the Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadows that I have, with the exception of one. One of these is not a foiled shadow, and now I will tell you which one that is. So this is Grandstand. Let's see if, make sure I'm like actually in the clip. Grandstand, Fantasy, Caitlin Rose, Mesmerized, Magic Act, Daydreamer, Whimsical, Starry Eyed, Highwire. This is actually Anastasia Macaroon. And then the last two are Pegasus and In the Spotlight. As you can see, they're really pretty. I really enjoy these. I think they're nice and bright and vibrant. They're the kind of formula where they're a little bit more oily. It feels based so that you don't get fallout or anything like that from them. I will say once in a while I do have some issues with like them getting hard pan on top, but it's fairly easily solved by just kind of scraping off that top layer there. But otherwise these are really well done and they're fairly affordable. I want to say $8 or so, so it's not too bad, but they are really nice. So I just switched a couple of the shadows around just to get some of the groupings together, if you're noticing that difference. So next I'll show you my Makeup Geek Duochrome shadows. So it's this row and it just kind of goes down like that. And I actually might have a couple of my other Z palette, but I try to get them all in this one. So I will do swatches next of these. So I don't have as many as last time, so I might just swatch them kind of one by one there. That one is Karma, and it's pretty. It's got like, it's like a gold with a kind of green shift to it. That one didn't swatch great. And this one is Ritzy. And this one's cool too. It's like a brown with a green gold kind of duochrome shift to it. It almost looks like Karma, except for it's got brown in it, which is kind of strange. I don't have any other shadows like that. The next one I have is super bright. I should use this one more. I always forget how it translates when you swatch it because it doesn't look anything like this beautiful kind of teal color, but it's really pretty, really vibrant there. That one is called Typhoon, and that's what it looks like. So it doesn't look like the color it ends up being. And then the next one is, yeah, see, this one has a little bit of hard pan that I should try to get rid of. But that's it there. It's kind of like a pretty peachy gold shade. It's pretty light. You could almost use this as like a brow bone highlight or an actual highlighter. That one's called Ooh, there we go. That one's called I'm Peachless. And then the next one here is like a really pretty lilac. It's really pretty, eh? It packs on really well on the lid. Looks really cool. It's kind of a purple with a little bit of a blue tone shift to it, I guess. That one's called Phantom. And then I've got this one that is like kind of a pinky with a lavender duochrome to it. That one is called Mai Tai? Mai Tai. God, I couldn't read that for a sec. And then I have one more down here. See if I can swatch this with my pinky. And this one is also really pretty. So this is like a little bit of a deeper purple than the first one. And then it's got like a heavier kind of light blue shift to it. But they're pretty similar, these two. I don't know if you'd need both necessarily. So you can see it looks darker in the pan. You can see that it's got like a heavy blue shift to it. And this one's called Blacklight. That one's a really pretty one. And then this little group of eyeshadows over here are basically just matte eyeshadows with the exception of two down here. This one is Pegasus by Makeup Geek. It's just one of their typical regular eyeshadows, except for it's a satin, not a matte. And then this one over here is a MAC shadow, and I always confuse it. This one is Shroom, and it's just like a staple that I just love using as a brow bone highlight or an inner corner highlight. Just really pretty. Let me swatch those two. So that's Shroom right there. Looks a lot prettier actually when it's not heavily swatched, like when you're just putting it on the skin with a brush. And that's Pegasus. It's like a nice teal. This one beside it I will swatch. Now of course mattes don't kind of swatch like you usually want. That one is Fawn by Anastasia. Really, really nice transition shade. I really enjoy Anastasia eyeshadows. They've really come a long way. And then this one right here is another matte brown. So this is Caramel by Anastasia. Really pretty shade. Another just like nice matte brown. And then do I have any fingers to swatch one more? Yes, I do. And this one I have here is a pretty unique shade for my collection. It's kind of a nice, it's almost like a maroon, but it's got obviously like, you know, brown undertones to it. So it's really pretty. That one is called Red Earth by Anastasia. So then I'll do these I don't know why I keep using my middle finger. I'll do these four right here. So this black one is Carbon by MAC. This is like, you know, the original matte black that everybody kind of always used. It's actually not my favorite matte black. There it is there. You can see it's, I mean, it's black, but it's not super intensely black. I think there are black shadows that blow carbon out of the water, but I've just had that for a long time. And this one is really pretty. If you like those kind of mustard brown colors, this one is called Desert Sands, and that's a Makeup Geek shadow. That one's really pretty. If you're looking for like a different kind of transition color. And then I've got another matte brown. Oh my god, that's so pigmented. And that's kind of like a reddy brown. That one is from Makeup Geek, and that is Cocoa Bear, which is a really popular shade from her line. And then this last one here, again, is another matte brown. That is just a really nice transition shade. And that's it right there. And I'm pretty sure that is an Anastasia shadow. Yeah, in Burnt Orange. Really pretty, actually. I use those ones a lot. So this is my second Z palette. So I've swatched the first row on my arm there. The first two are Makeup Forever shadows. They don't, because I bought the individual pan, they don't have the actual, oh no they do. Oh, I'm so wrong. I couldn't see the name on them. So the first one I have is M600, and I really hate how they don't give these names. And then this one is ME728. So the first one is like a matte brown. The second one is a really pretty copper shade. This one is Cranberry by MAC, and then Chickadee by Makeup Geek, Barcelona Beach by Makeup Geek, and Purely Naked by Makeup Geek. So I just watched the second row here. Now I will say these four here are MAC Dazzle shadows. So because I depotted them, I don't have the names of them off the top of my head, but I will figure out which ones they are and list them below. So I'll show you the swatches maybe first. So that's that silver one. This one beside it is MAC Satin Taupe, which used to be like, you know, all the rage. This is MAC Expensive Pink. This is MAC Star Violet, MAC Woodwinked, MAC Sketch, and then Makeup Geek in Neptune. So you can see. It's funny because the MAC shadows used to be like the staple eyeshadow that everybody wanted, like back in the day. And I just feel like so many companies have come such a long way in terms of like creating really pigmented, long wearing eyeshadows, that MAC shadows like just don't look as impressive to me anymore as they used to, but they are still like nice little shadows. But if you're looking for the most pigmented shadows, like MAC ones typically are not what you should go for unless you've got something from their newer collection, like the Dazzle shadows are really beautiful. So I just swatched the third row of my eyeshadows. I actually lied. This one right here is not a MAC Dazzle shadow. I always think it is because it looks so similar to them, but this is actually one of the Urban Decay, I think they're called Moon Shadows or something like that, that I depotted. So the first one there is another one of the Makeup Geek Duochrome shadows. So this one is Voltage. This is the Urban Decay, I think they're called Moon Shadows. And this one is so pretty. It has like heavy glitter in it with just like kind of a faint brown undertone. Like, it's so nice. But if you don't like super glittery eyeshadows, you won't like this. But this is just unlike most eyeshadows. And I want to say it's called Diamond Dog or like something along those lines. But I'll put it in the description bar below. This one is Mythology by MAC. Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek. Sumptuous Olive by MAC. And then this last one here, oh, that one is called Rockstar, and that's another one of the Duochrome eyeshadows from Makeup Geek. This one I was disappointed in. I don't see a huge shift in it. I kind of have a hard time deciding what color is it. Is it like, you know, kind of a lavender silver shadow, or what is it? It's not as good as the rest of them. Like, look at Voltage right here. Like, you can see a clear shift. It's really bright and in your face. It's really pretty. This one, not so much. So this is the fourth row here. So the first one I have is Curfew by Makeup Geek. It's like a really pretty purple matte. These two are the Dazzle shadows. So you can see how pretty they are. They're really glittery, but if you really want to take these to like the next level and make them super bright and super glittery and super opaque on the lid, what I do is I take the NYX eyeshadow bases, like, you don't have to use those exact ones, but the point is that they're really opaque, and I have it in white or black, and they're super opaque. You put them on your lid, and then I'll layer these on top. So this one I usually use with the white, and this one I use with the black. So I'll put the black all over my lid, pat this on top, and it just like makes these eyeshadows pop. So try that if you're using these eyeshadows and wish that you could get a little bit more out of them. This is MAC All That Glitters, MAC Brown Script, MAC Amber Lights, and this is an Urban Decay eyeshadow. I think it's called, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called, because Makeup Geek I think has a similar shade called Insomnia. It also looks very similar to MAC's Blue Brown pigment, but it's kind of duochrome-y there, but it's really pretty. I'll figure out what the name of that is. I can't remember because I depotted it now. So I wanted to do my NARS Dual Intensity eyeshadows next. These are really pretty. They are really pricey for a single eyeshadow. I want to say they're $38 or something a peach, which is pretty crazy. The sad thing about the ones I'm going to show you is that most of them are limited edition. NARS is always putting out like a couple of the dual intensity eyeshadows with their new limited edition collection. So they'll always put out like a couple eyeshadows, a couple blushes, a couple lip products. So most of these you can't get. I do have 6 of them, and I think 4 of them were limited edition, but I'll still show them to you. So let me get them in a decent order, like how they're swatched on my hand. So this is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadows. This is called Pool Shark. Let me bring it closer there. It's so pretty. It's like this really shimmery periwinkle blue. I just have it swatched there. Oh, I really love this one. Definitely one of my favorites. The second one is Carrie. So this one is like a more of a matte, kind of dusty rose. I was not super impressed by this one. Actually, it's definitely my least favorite of my dual intensity shadows, just because I find it a little more muted than oh my gosh, my hands are just full of shimmer and eyeshadow. More muted than I wanted it to be. And you can see you can get different finishes in the dual intensity shadows. Some are really glittery, some are a little bit less glittery, some are basically matte. Like this Carrie shade. So not my favorite shade, but it's okay. The next one that I have is Himalaya. So this is one that is in the regular line. It's just a really pretty everyday shimmery kind of bronzy gold. I have it swatched right there. It's the third one. This one is really pretty. And then the next one I have is Rigel. This is another one of my absolute favorite eyeshadows. It's like this bright kind of rose gold. And you can see it right there. It's really pretty, really, really pretty eyeshadow. And then I have Arcturus, which is like a deep kind of navy blue almost. This one's really pretty. Not that I wear navy blue eyeshadows a lot, but if I wanted to wear one, this would be exactly what I want it to look like. So you can see it's really pigmented there, and it's got a little shimmer and shine to it without being glittery or anything like that. It looks really pretty on the eyelid. So again, this was another one of the Rigel and Arcticus were both limited edition eyeshadows. And then the last one I have is called Dion, and this is in the regular line as well. So this is kind of like a silvery taupey shade, and I just have it swatched right there. Yeah, so that's that one. So you can get Himalaya and you can get Dion, but they're always putting out new really pretty shades in the dual intensity shadows. I really like them. Obviously you can just wear these dry, but they're supposed to be made that you can make them wet with Water Fix Plus or whatever and make them way more intense, which is pretty true for all of them except for that Carrie shade. I was not super impressed with that one. So then I just have like a random assortment of some of them. So this is a really good drugstore option. If you're looking for like a super glittery, good pigmented, long wearing eyeshadow, the L'Oreal Infallible line is really good. I have this one in Metallic Lilac, and that's right there. The next one I have is a Makeup Geek. I think these are just the loose pigments. No, these might be the Duochrome pigments I think she put out. They're very messy, but they are really pretty. This is Prism. So it's like a white with like a nice kind of peachy pink shift to it. I recently talked about this one in a video. This is the Makeup Forever Starlit Powders in 02. So that's it there. It's white with a really heavy kind of yellow gold shift to it. Then I have one of the NARS eyeshadows. So this one, you know what? I believe that this originally came out as a limited edition collection and they brought it back into the permanent collection because this came out with the Stephen Klein, but they came out with a line of the hardware eyeshadows. I think this is part of it. So this is Stud, and I really like this one because it's like a brownie silver, but it's really good if you're doing like a smoky eye. And then this is a Sephora eyeshadow here. This is one of their mattes. So this is Red Carpet, number 286. And this is my only kind of Sephora eyeshadow that I have. And I just needed this for like Halloween, and I'm pretty impressed with that actually. It looks nice and pigmented, it's not skippy, it's got a nice feel to it. And then the next one here, I've got a couple ColourPop eyeshadows. These are another nice affordable eyeshadow. They've got tons and tons and tons of colors. Some of them in the line are better than others. Like this is one of my definitely the least favorite of my three that I have. I really have to pack this on, but it's like a pretty orange kind of silver, and this one is called Flipper, and it looks prettier than it actually swatches. So there's a lot of glitter in the swatch with like very little pigment, so you have to really pack this on in order to get it to show up really well. And then I have another one, so we'll go up like this. So this is Lala, and it's like a nice coppery brown shade. I haven't used it as much as I thought I would, even though it's pretty average shadow though. And I don't use it as much because I always want to use this one. So this is called Millionaire, and I'm running out of it. So you can see I've hit pan, and then once you kind of start getting down in the ColourPop eyeshadows, they kind of start to like crumble a bit and break apart, but that's it there. And it's just this really pretty brown with heavy gold sparkles, and it looks really nice packed all over the lid. And then the next one I have right here is from Ardency, and that's what they are. They came out with eyeshadows. This is in the shade Hell, and they're really pretty. They're little tiny eyeshadows. They're quite pricey, and it is nice, but it's just not something that I would like seek out because I don't love buying a lot of single eyeshadows, just because I'd rather have a palette where I can go in and kind of put a look together using that, but it is nice. And then this is Stila Kitten. That's it right there. I actually got this for free in a like sample kit or something like that a little while ago, so I haven't actually used this yet. It looks okay, but I know this is a cult classic. I think it's a bit of an old school cult classic. Like, I think they're just much prettier shadows than this, but it's okay looking. And then this one here is from MAC. So this is one of their mineralized eyeshadows. This is in Gilt by Association. And it's a really pretty, it's basically like a black undertone, like a matte black with a whole bunch of gold glitter in it. So it's really pretty. If you look at the inside of the packaging, it's really pretty. It's like nice and marbled and stuff. I like this one. I don't use it as much as I should though, really. And then I have two of the Kat Von D, what were these called? The Metal Crush eyeshadow. So the brown one I have is in Synergy, and then I have a red one called Raw Power. So that's those two at the end. She does really good eyeshadows, both matte and kind of shimmery ones. I really like these two. Alright, so we're getting down to the end of it. I just filmed an entire clip, or I thought I filmed it, and then I looked back and my camera wasn't filming. So we'll do this all over again. So the first three that I have swatched here are Make It Forever Artist Shadows. So you can buy them individually, and then you can buy these little palettes for them, whether it's a duo or a trio. I do like these. I will find out the colors of them and put it in the description bar below, but I'm just too lazy to kind of pop them out right now and figure out what they are, because I just don't want to rush and risk like chipping my eyeshadow or something like that. And then the other two that you can see right here, let me get actually down in the camera, there. You can see like they're so glittery and pretty. These are like two of my favorite eyeshadows again. So these are from Dose of Colors. These are the Ideal Duos. So they're basically like a loose pigment and a primer. So I have it in Maroon is the purpley one, and then in Shell is like the gold one. So a few companies have come out with products like these. I want to say Dose of Colors was one of the earlier ones to do this. And they give you like a coordinating primer, which is basically like a cream eyeshadow, and then the loose glitter. I don't really end up using these primers up here. I just use my Too Faced glitter glue, and I find that it works really, really well. So you can see you just get the loose pigment down there. These are just absolutely beautiful. If Dose of Colors was more kind of readily available to me, I would have more of these for sure, because they're so pretty and I really like them. But it's just one of those brands that, you know, I gotta order from their website, and then I gotta worry about the shipping to Canada, which is always like 10, 15, 20 bucks. So it's hard to justify when you think of the total price of ordering something like this, but these are really pretty. So my last kind of category are my MAC pigments. So they do come in two sizes. They come in like the quote-unquote travel size, and then the regular size. If you can buy the shade that you're looking for in the travel size, buy it in the travel size, because there's no way you can get through a whole one of these pigments like in your lifetime. The only thing is that not all the shades come in this smaller size. There's only maybe, I think last time I looked there was 10 or so, but these just last you like a lifetime. These are just really pretty though. I love MAC pigments. The only thing is that sometimes they can be a little bit tough to get out. Like, I think I'm gonna have to use a brush to swatch these. So I'll swatch them all in my hand first, and then I'll come back. So here are the swatches of my MAC pigments. So I am going to say when you use these, they can be really messy because obviously they're a loose pigment. When you put these on your eyelids, you definitely want to use like a Fix Plus or something like that to kind of help them adhere. It'll not only help them kind of adhere better to your eyelid, but also make them even more vibrant. So these are actually kind of really weak swatches of them because I just swatched them right from the bottles. So this is Blue Brown. This is Melon. This is one of my favorite eyeshadows. It's like a really pretty kind of pinky gold shade. This is Vanilla, which is like a stark white, which looks really like it's the most intense white eyeshadow that I think I have in my collection. This is Copper Sparkle, which is really pretty. This one I find has bigger chunks of glitter in it than the other ones do, but at the same time it just shines so much brighter than a lot of the other ones. This is Tan, so this is a really good kind of everyday, kind of taupey, pinky shade. It's really nice. This one is Old Gold. So this one is not my favorite actually. It's kind of like a greeny gold rather than like a bright kind of gold. So I don't love this one, but it is like, I don't know, it's good for like the occasional use. And then this last one is Rose, which is like a pink with a with like a gold glitter in it. This one I find a little bit more chunkier than the rest. I don't know if you can see right at the top there, like there's kind of chunks of it that you have to work out. It's not as smooth as say something like tan. So you will get varying amounts of glitter and shine and kind of finishes to the MAC pigment. So try to take a look at them before you buy them, or look up swatches and stuff like that so you know exactly what you're getting. But overall, really pretty pigments. Like these are just like a staple in MAC's line. Whew, so that is it. Those are all my kind of single eyeshadows. I really hope I didn't make this video too long, but it's so difficult to kind of get the names and swatches of every eyeshadow in. I will list everything down below, so if you're more interested in seeing a swatch of something than others, you can always, I'll list them in the order that I kind of talked about them below, so you can skip ahead or kind of know a little bit where it's going to come up in the video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really having a good time doing these collection videos. It's so nice. You kind of get to go through your whole collection and kind of rediscover older products that you forgot about, and or come up with new ideas for looks as you kind of go along. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!